All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to say all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakak Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Rule well. Blessings to the hopeful elect teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Yeah, basically, this is going to be a video in response to the latest news in terms of what Trump has now ordered a new branch of U.S. military known as a Space Force. Okay, and this ain't nothing new because you had that, I believe it was Ronald Reagan, if I'm not mistaken, Star Wars, set up the Star Wars program. Apostles always speak about it. In fact, let me type that in. Give me a second. Yeah, here we go. Star Wars program. Ronald Reagan. I'm just going to read. In fact, let me just click on it real quick. Strategic Defense Initiative. It says the SDI initiative was proposed a missile defense system intended to protect the United States from attack by ballistic strategic nuclear weapons. Right, basically ICBMs. It said the concept was first announced publicly by President Ronald Reagan, basically in 1983. Right, Reagan was a vocal critic of the doctrine of mutual assured destruction, right, which he described as suicide pact. He called upon the scientists and the engineers of the United States to develop a system that would render nuclear weapons obsolete. And not too long ago, I actually came across, or while I was driving in my van on the way to work, and I came across one show known as, was it LBC? Like, it was a radio station, actually. It was like a normal radio show, like could be like Capital or Kiss or whatever, over here in London. And they were talking about a new type of job has been offered out there to the public that you could actually go and apply for. And I was like, what the hell? What are they talking about? And then they started mentioning NASA, and they were saying that NASA were hiring people, or looking to hire someone, and their job role will be specifically for being a defense from threats from alien invasion. All right, and I think the yearly salary was like what, over 150,000 a year. All right, so that got me thinking, and I thought to myself, and we even spoke on it a bit at camp that same week, and it got me thinking. It's like, if they're looking to employ people, then they must know something. They must know. Well, of course they know, because the apostles are out there, we're out there, and we're teaching that the chariots of Israel, or the chariots of the Most High, are what the so-called white man calls UFOs, which really they're IFOs, and we know them to be the vehicles of our salvation. Lord willing, we be those men that get beamed up out of here. All right? And the reason why they're doing this is because they're so proud. They're even going to try and fight. They're going to try and fight the Lord. All right? The Bible tells you that. They're going to try and fight the Lord. We're going to get the precepts in a minute. But what I wanted to do was go into this. I had the article before from The Guardian. Just read a little bit here. I'm going to play you a little bit of what Trump was saying. So, Lucky, I know I'm all over the place, but bear with me, Arkham. It says that Donald Trump said on Monday that he would direct the Pentagon to create a Space Force as a new branch of the U.S. military to shore up American dominance in space. Now, why are they doing that? You really think that they're going to waste all of that money for nothing, man? You really think that they don't know that a threat is imminent and a threat is near? Of course. All right? And that's the pride of the so-called white man. They really think they're going to fight against the Lord when he returns. When he said, I will not meet thee as a man. Hey, man, the Lord is going to destroy these guys, man. Like in the scenes of War of the World. He's just going to flatline these original niggers, man. All right? These hillbilly faggots, man. It says Trump claimed that the plan will ensure that America, which plans to return to the moon, which they never really went to the moon, that's a fucking lie, okay, and a mission to Mars, stays ahead of China and Russia in any new space race. But it is likely to raise fears over the militarization of space and prompt a slew of Twitter parodies featuring Star Trek and Star Wars. Very importantly, I am hereby directing the Department of Defense and the Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to necessary, Salakia, to establish a space force as the sixth branch of the armed forces, the president said at the White House. And this is President Donald Trump, obviously. DJ Trump scratching up all the decks. Scratching everything up, man. Let's see what he's going to say here, man.
When it comes to defending America, it is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance in space. So important. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a space force as the sixth branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement. This time we will do more than plant our flag and leave our footprints. We will establish a long-term presence, expand our economy, and build the foundation for an eventual mission to Mars, which is actually going to happen very quickly. And, I've always said that rich guys seem to like rockets. So all of those rich guys that are dying for our real estate to launch their rockets, we won't charge you too much. Just go ahead. If you beat us to Mars, we'll be very happy, and you'll be even more famous.
And there you go, man. There you have it, man. So this is actually happening, that Star Force, man, Trump is basically, and that's the pride of the so-called white man. They're actually making a sixth branch, which there really always has been a sixth branch, all right, of the military. And they're just basically coming out with it plain now. And they're saying, look, we're going to start weaponizing space, basically. But they've been doing that, They got satellites that can shoot laser beams and so on and so forth that Apostle Aramla was even bringing out and going into, man. They got certain pulses or EMPs that they can shoot out from space, or, certain satellites that shoot out shockwaves that just basically paralyze you on the spot. Right? This ain't nothing new. So what I'm going to do now is I did have a precept that I wanted to go into, all right, which I feel ties into this very, very accurately. And it's going to be located in the book of Obadiah, the fourth verse. In fact, let me start up a bit. It says, from verse 3, it says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock." All right, now who calls themselves Caucasians today? Who calls themselves Caucasians? Now, Caucasian is nothing but a cave dweller. All right, and that's basically so-called white people, man, because contrary to popular belief, because they don't like to talk about this history, honestly not, because it was an embarrassing history for them, that they were chased away from all the dark nations, right? And no one really wanted them around, right? They were disgusting. They were filth. The scriptures tell you that in the book of Job, I believe the 30th chapter, man. In fact, let's jump to that real quick and we can come back. All right, this is Job chapter 30. Let me start from the top. "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock." Now, why did Job say that? Because, a so-called white man will probably try and fuck your dog, man. I wouldn't have my dog around a so-called white man. Hell no. That's why you always see videos popping up on YouTube or whatever about some Edomite, doing some crazy shit, fucking a dog, or talking about being intimate with a dog, or Edomite man, talking about shagging sheep, or you getting caught in the act of shagging sheep. Edomites are fucking. The scripture says, Habakkuk 2:5, or is it 2:4? The spirit that is lifted up is not upright in him, man. And that's Esau for you, man. Okay. Let me jump to verse 3. It says, "For want of famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, in former time desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief." Now, one of the MOs of the so-called white man is that he's a thief. He's a thief, he's a liar, he's a murderer. All right? He's all of those things, man. Does not John 10:10 tell you that the thief cometh not but for to kill, to steal, and destroy? Right? The scripture says, "Woe to them that establish a city by way of blood." And they've done that off the backs of the Israelites, man. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And they must pay for that. All right? But that's another topic for another time. "Among the bushes they brayed." In fact, it says, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, here's the point, and in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. All right? And that's basically where Esau was situated, man. All right? In the caves of the valleys, man. All right? And that's why they call themselves Caucasians, cave dwellers. Okay? So let's go back into Obadiah and the 3rd verse. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, them cave dwellers, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's that pomp, that's that pride. All right? And you know that Trump, when he announced that, he was all kind of proud. You see his facial expressions, man? His look was more stout than his fellows, thinking that it's like some sort of race into space, so to speak, man. You know, that pride of America is about to be taken out, man. All right? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, what does America actually hold as its how can I say? Or what do they have on their flags? It's the eagle. You know? And an eagle is a filthy bird. It preys on vermin. It looks down from up on high over everything. All right? It has that keen vision, constantly over everything else. All right? Thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and thou set thy nest among the stars. Now, this is the thing. Now, a while ago, I remember the apostles breaking this down as being weapons. Okay? And basically, that's basically what Esau's basically done. He's set his nest among the stars. All right? He's got his satellites and all of that, you know, basically set up. Right? Now, you got this Star Force program now that they actually want to fight against an outside threat out there in the heavens, man. Why are they doing that? Okay, because they know that the time is imminent when they're going to go down and they're going to get invaded by the angels, man, and Yahweh Shai. Okay? It says, though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down. Okay? And now spiritually, when the truth started to come out during the 1970s, you know, because they said that they went to the moon in 1960, between 1969 and 72. I think it was 72 that they said they went to the moon. But the Lord says, when you do that, then will I bring you down. And ever since then, you know, our forefather Abba Bivens, he bringing out the truth and woke us up. You know, he's been going down spiritually because why? The scripture says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds. And these strongholds have been getting pulled down since that time period of them setting their nest among the stars with that pride by claiming that they went to the moon, when in fact they didn't. Okay? But this Star Wars program thing, hey, it's all going to be in vain because you ain't going to take out the chariots, man. All right? You ain't taking out the chariots. These things can change direct trajectory whenever they want. They can change size, go as small as a pinhead. You know, the chariot that Yahweh Shai is coming on, man. Hey, Ezra said it was like a engraven mountain, man. Couldn't even tell the end of it. In fact, might as well get that. Okay? Since we're talking about it, 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter and the 2nd verse. And lo, there rose a wind from the sea that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. All right, that man is talking about Yahweh Shai, waxing strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned to his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. All right, because contrary to popular belief, hey, the Lord is a so-called black man out of the tribe of Judah, and he's coming back with his armies, man. Okay, he's coming back with them armies. Okay, which are basically them angels, man. In fact, if I can hold that there, might as well jump to the book of Psalms. What is it? 68. Psalm 68 and here we go, and 17. It says, the chariots of Yahweh are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai, as in the holy place. So Yahweh Shai is going to be among these chariots when the Lord comes. When the Lord comes, he's going to be among the chariots, but he's going to be among them angels within them chariots, man. All right, even thousands of angels. Okay, because when you read the book of Acts, in fact, let's jump to that in the New Testament. Acts, the 1st chapter, in the 6th verse, it says, when they were first come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, without this time restore again the kingdom to Israel, right? And that was talking about the disciples asking the Lord. They were like, when are you going to restore the kingdom of Israel to us? And that's the kind of spirit that we're supposed to be in these last days, man. We're supposed to be hastening the day, right? It says, well, let me go straight to the point. Verse 9, and when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. All right? And that's another word for a so-called UFO. A cloud, a whirlwind, a wheel within a wheel, a chariot, a horse. All of these things, all right, they're really the chariots of the Heavenly Father, man. And they're basically our vehicles of salvation. All right? And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel. That would be two angels, which said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. All right? So the same way the Lord went is the same way that he's coming back. Okay? And he ain't going to meet you as a man. Let's get that. Isaiah chapter 47. Verse 3, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, ye thy shame shall be seen. And Esau's nakedness is being uncovered, man. All of the shame, all of the history, it's all coming out. The slavery, the shit that, how America was built. And America means bitter. America was built up in a bitter way off the backs of the Israelites. And it's all coming out. And you can't hide it. And that's a shameful blot of your history that you're trying to remove from all your textbooks. But it just keeps on coming up. And that shame is being revealed. That shame is being seen. And the Lord said, what? I will take vengeance and I will not meet thee as a man. So the Lord ain't going to come back and meet you as a man. He's going to come back as a force. Okay? With the thousands of heaven. Okay? Let's get Revelation 1 and 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds. Here we go. All right? And this is bouncing straight off the Acts 1st chapter. All right? Because he was taken up in a cloud. Revelation, all right, is saying what? Behold, he cometh with clouds and every eye shall see him. It's going to be like that scene in General Zod or Man of Steel. When General Zod came, everyone saw General Zod. They knew what time it was, man. It was over. And you think all these scoffers and scorners ain't going to be like, fuck, these guys were telling the truth in that day? All these heathens that look down upon us? All right? They're going to be amazed at the strangeness of our salvation. That's what the scriptures say, right? It say, and they also which pierced him. And that's talking about reincarnation. The same guys that pierced Yahushua when he was on the cross. And they're back here today to receive their judgment. All right? And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so a man. So, hey, everyone's going to be wailing, man. And it's going to be a beautiful time. As the Lord, he ain't going to meet you as a man, boy. And you want to be on the right side of the Lord when he comes back. Okay? Let's see if I can get... Here we go. Revelation 19. Ooh, there's a lot in this. Let me jump to verse 13. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. All right? Yahushua, basically. The volume of the book. That's the Lord. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. Remember I said the chariots, or the so-called UFOs that the so-called white man calls them. Right? They're sometimes described as horses, clouds, chariots, wheel within a wheel. All right? And it says the armies, right, which were in heaven, followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Okay? And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, a killing instrument, that with it he should smite the nations, and that he should rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of wrath of the almighty power. And on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And that's the real King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That's Yahushua, man. Ain't talking about no Haile Selassie, man. Alright? When did the Haile Selassie come with the thousands of heaven, man? Alright, with a sharp sword. Alright? Bringing all them other nations into subjection. Mainly these Edomites. Alright? First on the hit list. Alright? So what you got to understand is the Lord is going to come back as a mighty power, and he ain't going to meet you as a man, Esau. And that's why you got your Star Force program. That's why you got your weapons out there in space. That's why you're trying to hire people to be a first line of defense from an incoming invasion from an unknown source. Okay, let's go back to 2nd Ezra 13. Right? Verse 4. And whatsoever the voice that went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. Like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. Alright? It's going to be like that scene on Independence Day when you had that tall ass building get zapped by that chariot, man. And after this bit I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had, and that's talking about Yahweh Shai, they were trying to subdue him. Alright? He had engraved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. Alright? So the chariot that the Lord's coming back on, the Father's ship, it's going to look like a fucking mountain, man. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I couldn't even see the end of it. It's like, how big is Mount Everest, man? Take Mount Everest and just put it in the sky, man. That's how big the chariot's gonna be, if not even bigger. You know? After this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him was sore afraid, and yet durst fight. So they're gonna be so afraid, even in that scene like in the Independence Day, where you had the President of the United States. He was talking about, we won't go save quietly into the night. We won't give up without a fight. And they were going to, stand up to fight them aliens. Which really, that shows you that they know that an invasion's coming. And they were, he got all the nations to fight together against a common enemy. Right? Which would be the angels, man. And what? In the film, they prevailed. But they ain't going to prevail in real life, man. In the near future, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords will reign supreme, and you will get ruled over with a rod of iron. Yes, all you other nations will. You will be in subjection, and you will go into slavery. That's prophecy, man. All right, and that's why you so-called white people, you're scared as fuck. All right, because, and not only that, because could you imagine being an Edomite and hearing the news that after 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, the hardest, you just gonna be gathered into a pit and burnt, man. All right, and that's why you scared shitless, because your kingdom is going down and ours is on the up. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. There ain't nothing that you can do to stop this, man. This is future prophecy. We're in the time period where Esau is ruling now, and his kingdom is clearly going down. He's making certain arrangements, first lines of defense to actually defend against a common enemy. Right? But you ain't going to be able to defend against this, man. The Lord ain't going, the Lord is going to destroy all of you nations, man. All right? King of Kings and Lord of Lords, man. The scripture says on his head was many crowns. All right? Okay? And it says what? Let me go to Revelation 19:11. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. And that's the Lord, man. In righteousness he's coming to make war, man. Alright, so you guys talking about the Lord's all love, you don't even understand. Okay? And this is the last one, Revelation 12:7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, man. And that's showing you the times that we're coming into. There's going to be war in the space. And that's why they're setting a nest among the stars. That's why they're, they got the Star Wars program reinvigorated with Trump, Star Force and all of that. Because they're actually going to try and fight against the chariots, man. With the thousands of angels that are going to come with the Lord. But there's nothing they're going to be able to do to stop it, man. So with that, man, I'm going to say shalom.